Sizwe. In exile, Mathebe became the first camp commander of the Peter Nthabeleng unit. In 2011, Kgosi Mathebe was appointed as the South African ambassador to Zambia. Before his death, Mathebe was serving as a special advisor to Limpopo Premier Stan Mathabatha. Mathebe's funeral has been declared a Provincial Official Funeral Category 2. Mahlako Komane has more.
We are here at the funeral of the late Kgosi Chief Mohlamme Mathebe, just outside, or in a village actually called Ntwane in Denelton, in the Sekhukhune area. And the chief having died last week in hospital there. But not only just a chief, but when you look at his rich history, a member of the ANC, as well as having been an ambassador to Zambia. In 2011 he was appointed an ambassador, but upon his death he was a special advisor to the Limpopo Premier. And I'm just going to speak to a member of the family just to give us a rundown of what is it that is going to happen here, as well as I think the royal rites that must take place once this part of the official funeral, the provincial funeral that will be had, is finished. What is it that we can see going forward? Papa, thank you so much for talking to us in Tate Cambridge. What is it that's going to happen? I think maybe just briefly.
Yeah, thanks very much. When the King's entourage arrives here, what is going to happen is that the proceedings are going to start from official proceeding, because this is a provincial funeral. It's going to start from here, and then when we are done here, we are just going to walk down there to the kraal. That's where we actually bury our chief and the royal family. So everything is going to end in there.
And you were just telling us earlier of the rules in terms of who gets to go inside the royal burial kraal.
Exactly. At this juncture, people are going to be allowed there are actually people who men actually who in terms of tradition are recognized as people who can actually attend funerals and say a word or two. So it's only men who are going to be allowed to go in there, because there are rituals. For instance, there's a mphato. Mphato, it means because we do initiations here. That actually went with the chief was leading them. So they're going to be in there, and also other people are going to be in there. But I'm talking about men, by the way. And then there's going to be a lot of rituals that are going to take place in there when we bury our ambassador chief.
Thank you so much. We're just going to try and pan there. This is the entourage of I think the hearse of Kgoshi Mathebe seemingly having arrived here. They were earlier on in the royal house observing certain rites there, but as you can see that is the hearse has finally made its way here, where I think the people of Ntwane are gathered, as well as some dignitaries gathered here to bury Kgoshi Mohlamme Mathebe III, former ambassador to Zambia, as well as a special advisor to Premier Stan Mathabatha, and also a member of parliament in 1994, and also just quite a rich history that Kgoshi Mathebe has had in terms of the life that he has lived. He also served in Mkhonto Sizwe in Angola, where he got military training, and understand it was here as well that he rose to the ranks of a camp commander in Angola, where he underwent that training. And as you can see, I think they are taking out the flowers, and the police are also here. As I said, this is going to be an official provincial funeral, category 2. He is also, I think, accompanied by these young men, as we've heard, that he used to lead the initiation ceremonies in this particular part of Sekhukhune. And we're just going to go back. As you can see, more flowers there being carried. as well as I think they are about to open that hearse. Police will be carrying the box to where it will be standing here while the program gets underway. And I think also if you can just see here, let me actually just ask the Cambridge to just give us an understanding of the significance of these young men here that seem to be accompanying the body of the late Kgoshi Mathebe.
This, you mean this one in front of us? Thanks. This is how we look when you come from the initiation school. It's an arch. They signify our culture, part of our culture actually. Yeah.
And as you've just heard here, the signifying that the chief here was the leader of young men. He was the one that led the way during the initiation ceremony. That it all had to start here in the royal house. That's what I understand. I'm saying when young men go to the mountains in this particular area, they must come here and get the blessings of the chief. Hence, the young men are here accompanying the body of the late chief.
Yes. What normally happens is that when they go to the initiations, they all come and congest here. And then what happens is that they actually do a handover to the chief to say, these are our kids, look after them, we'll see them when they come back.
Yes, and you've just heard there, I think the significance of the young men that are here, I think accompanying the chief's coffin. We also see old men of the village as well, and I think members of the royal house will also be here, bringing the body of the chief and carrying that coffin here.
What is going to happen is that because it's actually members of the royal house that are going to carry the coffin from here to here, and when they arrive here, there's going to be a change of flags. The family flag is going to be taken off, and then what is going to happen is that then a government a flag is going to be put in. As I said earlier on, that this is a provincial government category 2. So from here, proceedings are actually run under the auspices of the provincial government. And when they are done, then we go into the kraal there. What is going to happen in the kraal is that the flags are going to be changed again. Government is going to remove his or her flag, and then from there we're going to put back the royal this thing skin. Yes. And then from there it's going to go down halfway with the skin, and then from there that's going to be removed, and then it goes. What is happening is that signifies that the government now hands over the body to the family in the kraal.
And you've just heard there, this is how this funeral is going to be run, but I think it is going to get underway in a few minutes, but seemingly they're just getting ready to carry that body out of out of the hearse. But we'll definitely be here, and we will be carrying this event live from Ntwane here in Sekhukhune in the Denelton area, the funeral of the late Kgoshi Mohlamme Mathebe. And it's back to you in studio.